My shirt's on backwards. That's a thing I just discovered. We're just gonna continue this entire video with my shirt on backwards. I brushed my hair and I put on makeup, so we're like 75% of the way there, you guys. Dear internet friendos, welcome back to another edition of a video, albeit a different flavor video than usual, but it is still on this corner of the internet, if I don't say that, like, or what are we even doing here, you know? Is it even a video? Typically with every video, I write a script, but this week I decided to write y'all a letter. And here's my letter. I'm gonna read it out loud, but also make the video. Okay, let's just start. This week, I wanted to take a second to share a resource that has completely changed my life for the better. It's helped me a whole bunch since 2019. And I don't know about you, but this month has brought forth an onslaught of feelings for me. So I thought perhaps maybe I could address those feelings as well as offer something to help everyone out. I've just been having a lot of feelings recently that I've been taking up a lot of space on Beyonce's internet. Beyonce. If I'm gonna take up space, I'm gonna try to be helpful. And I don't know about y'all, but this month has also brought forth a lot of feelings in me. Oh God, everything's an inconvenience. Oh my God. Oh my God. And there's a dead bird. I don't know if that is an omen or some witchcraft, or if Bones has once again brought me a gift. Either way, wow. Feelings of unrest, mostly. And I think it's because mostly in September in the US, that's when kids go back to school. It's also when people start yelling about pumpkin spice and spirit Halloween stores on the internet. Everyone's yelling about them. It's just a switch that we flip every September. What I mean to say is that September is traditionally a month of transition, and I don't feel like I'm moving much. Let me explain. Although I'm still freelance producing and directing, I'm for the most part still doing it from my Nook, best place. This office space that I built for myself. Don't get me wrong, a bitch is booked and busy just from home. I got a taste of being back on set in August and it was wonderful, but then the whole situation, my whole job was abbreviated because of COVID. So it's just been feeling really stoppy-starty. Can you relate? Has COVID stolen an opportunity from you? If so, please tell me about it in the comments below because I would like to talk to you in all caps about it. All caps, that's how I talk. It's a mixture of yelling, crying, and talking. This is what it sounds like. You know, like it's a cute mentee beat. That's what I call a mental breakdown. But I feel very lucky because I have this form of therapy called DBT that I can fall back on when I start feeling these feelings of unrest. It's like CBT, which is like traditional talk therapy, but a little different. And I know what you might be thinking. Devin, is this an ad for therapy? No, it's not. This video is actually sponsored by Copilot. Thank you so much, Copilot, which is a new way to experience one-on-one personal training. And don't roll your eyes at me. First off, this is how I make my living. And secondly, I don't work with companies that I don't believe in. Copilot is definitely worth it, and you're gonna wanna stick around to hear about it. But also, it fits in with this greater theme of transition, which is an underlying idea in this video. Okay, so hold on, hold your horses. I promise we'll get to it. Besides, I mentioned DBT in a video back in April and y'all went off in the comments. So I thought that I would answer the call. Let's meet Wendy. Hi, Wendy.
Hey, I'm so happy to see you. I'm Wendy Douglas. I'm an LCSW, which means Licensed Clinical Social Worker. I'm a therapist, and I'm the founder of San Fernando Valley DBT. So if you don't know what DBT is, I'm sure we're going to talk about it. It's called Dialectical Behavioral Therapy, and I run the DBT program.
We know CBT is cognitive behavioral therapy, and then DBT is dialectical behavioral therapy. Can you discuss what's the difference between those two consonants?
Cognitive, I mean, think about cognition.
Right.
Behavioral is your behaviors or your actions. It looks at how you're thinking. So we look at how thoughts inform our mood and our emotions. So DBT is a behavioral therapy that sort of is an expansion of cognitive behavioral therapy developed by Marsha Linehan in the 1980s. It adds mindfulness. It adds this interpersonal piece. It's not just how you think and feel and act. It's like, how do you talk to other people? Dialectics, it's a big word, right? It's like, what the heck does that mean? But it's a philosophy term. So it's a term to describe two things being true at once. I think the most common misconception is that it's only for people with borderline personality disorder. So it treats so many more things now: depression, anxiety, eating disorders, substance use. It really has wide application.
Okay. Hey, So I want to introduce you all to a couple of things that I had on my DBT journey. I would drive up to the valley, meet with Wendy and my group. We'd start with some kind of meditation, and then we would report to each other, like 4 to 5 minutes. It was more like a class setting and less like group therapy. So DBT, traditionally you have a DBT therapist who you call and talk to literally every day, and then you go to group therapy and then you do the workbook. You can do it with just group therapy, like I did, or you can get just the workbook. DBT is becoming way more mainstream than you think. I heard Lady Gaga's doing DBT, Selena Gomez did DBT, Dr. Jill Biden talked about it recently. It's a growing movement that is helping a lot of people, not just folks with borderline personality disorder. So let me just walk you through a DBT moment. All right, so right now I'm feeling a little blah because I feel like I'm not being productive enough. I'm having a lot of self-judgmental thoughts. So I'm feeling my energy is low. So I'm gonna do something to help pick up my energy and to help me feel like I'm accomplishing something. I'm gonna go exercise, which is actually a DBT skill, which is a part of reducing your vulnerability. Since I'm going to go exercise, now seems like a great opportunity to introduce Copilot. Who's my Copilot? Oh, no big deal. Her name's just Darian and she's a queen. She's also here. You're like, oh, Devin, okay, is this an app? It's really much more than an app. Come with me on my workout and we'll find out. Darian lives in a completely different state than I do. And when I was first introduced to this program, I was a little weary. Like, how is this person supposed to train me from 1,000 miles away? But thankfully, Darian explained to me on a Zoom call.
Let me just quickly run through the app with you so you know that you feel like you know what you're doing when you get to the gym. So make sure you have headphones with you because the phone will talk to you if you're at the gym. So if you need to change anything in your workout and you get started and you're like, well, that's actually too many reps and too much weight, you can change those items. And then that will reflect in your workout log. So that way I can see, okay, I had programmed her 50 pounds, but that was too heavy. So she did 20 pounds. And now I know for next time, what do I need to change to make this workout better for you?
So Copilot sent me this Apple Watch. Woo! And it came with the Copilot app already pre-downloaded. So it was ready to go. From just the movement of my wrist, the Copilot smartwatch app can detect when I'm performing an exercise, grade my form, and grade my pacing in real time. Darian can actually see and analyze each rep through the technology. It's pretty wild. She'll comment and be like, how are those lunges for you? And I'm like, not great, Darian, but I did them. These days, one of the only reasons why I work out is to strengthen my pull game. And Darian really zoomed in on that fact and what was important for me and developed an entire program to that end, which is so cool.
Do you have a pull-up? Do you work on pull-ups? Is that something you're interested in doing?
Probably pull up, maybe 1 or 2 because I can do it
Okay.
full. But I should probably be working on that, and I need someone to help me stay accountable and stuff like that.
Lower abdominals and glute strength, I think, is going to be huge for you.
So
And just working on firing those back muscles and doing a lot of upper body pulling exercises in different directions, like overhead and horizontally, so that you're really training them in different ways. I think that will be really good.
I've only had a personal trainer once in my life, and it wasn't a great experience. Everything felt super hard and not personalized to what I needed. Darian is putting together the best workouts. She's having a lot of fun with it, and that makes me feel like I have a lot of fun. And every time I end a workout, I feel like I have more energy. This program really works. Check out the link in the description box below. Get your own Copilot for 30% off forever, which is dope. And they're only gonna charge you $69 a month instead of $100 a month. And you'll get a free 14-day trial. Copilot has been something in my life that I look forward to doing every day. Thanks for that, Darian. Okay, now back to the video. It was around 2019 and I was struggling with my transition of leaving BuzzFeed. To be honest with you, I don't really know why I am this way now. I honestly think I've probably been struggling with this for about a year, maybe a year and a half, but I didn't know that it was depression. I thought it was irritability or my period or just stress from work or home. You see, I came to BuzzFeed with the intention of being a producer and showrunner, and I never really meant to become a BuzzFeed face. Ding. And so when it happened, I was excited, but it put me in a situation where later down the road, I felt very trapped. For me, it kind of feels like someone is putting a hand on my shoulder and pulling me back from my friends and my life and everything that makes me happy, and putting this 50-pound weight on my chest. And it's really isolating and really sad. Obviously, it's called depression. Joy. I mean, think about it. I had spent almost 5 years there making content for them about my life and everyone else's life on Ladylike. And after all that time, it kind of felt like my personality was embedded in Bruce feed. No, not my personality. Give her back, Bruce feed. I was really frustrated because I would go on a lot of producer meetings and job interviews and no one would take me seriously because they thought that I was just, you know, an influencer out here influencing. And then I would go to these influencer events and feel so out of place because to this day, I feel really anxious asking someone to take my picture. I used to be a model, you guys. I can't do it. Can you take my picture? I know, and it's a huge part of my industry, and I just never felt like that department ever really resonated with me. So in a word, I felt lost. I was suffering.
We've mentioned this word like suffering a lot. And for someone watching, what's the difference between like having depression or anxiety and then suffering?
I think all human beings suffer, but our level of suffering changes, sometimes based on circumstances like a pandemic. You can suffer a lot with diagnosed mental illnesses. It's so individual. You have to really reflect. I mean, I think there's hallmarks and signs that pop up. Are you actually struggling with other things like getting out of bed, or do some things seem really hard, or are you irritable, or do you find yourself having difficulty functioning or feeling motivated?
And if I could answer my own question, I think it felt like everything was overwhelming. The thing that actually drove me to DBT is the things that used to give me enjoyment no longer gave me enjoyment. And that, like, I accept that suffering is a part of life, but there should be things in life that also are the antithesis to suffering. And those things weren't working for me anymore.
DBT is centered around this idea that our thoughts can dictate our feelings, and likewise, our feelings can really influence our experience, or like actually shape our experience in a lot of ways. DBT is actually separated into 4 different modules. And to help me demonstrate the 4 different modules, come with me to make a sandwich. That's right, you heard me. Let's go make a sandwich, okay? So walk off camera until you come. Come on. DBT is like a very structured class based around the ideas that our thoughts dictate our behaviors and our behaviors influence our experience. And to help us understand these 4 modules, allow me to demonstrate by putting together a sandwich. Mindfulness is like the bread and butter of DBT, or in this case, bread and mayo and Dijon. You're not making your sandwiches with a little bit of Dijon. What are you doing? Mindfulness helps us gain awareness of our thoughts and sensations. It's like the bread because it holds all of this together. You can't fix what's broken if you aren't tuned in to all the different feelings and thoughts that are causing you to suffer. Emotional regulation teaches us skills to reduce a person's vulnerability to negative emotions while increasing their experience of positive emotions. For me, that's like the protein of the Sammy because it's what most people come to DBT for. In this module, we learn specific skills, and the emphasis is often placed on healthy living, such as getting enough sleep and exercising, which are huge influencers on our emotional experience. Distress tolerance focuses us on how to change your emotional response to upsetting situations through acceptance, distraction, or tolerance. Think about crisis management. I'm making this module into the cheese or the avocado because in my mind, there's always gonna be a little heat in the sandwich that I make, just like there's always gonna be a little heat when you're dealing with negative emotions. And the cheese and the avocado help temper down that spice. The last module is interpersonal effectiveness, and its core principles are helping individuals stay true to their values while building long-lasting relationships. For me, that's like the veggies in the sandwich because the vegetables can really alter the flavor of the sandwich. Just like when you do all this work in therapy and then you take your newfound insights into the world and experience other people's reactions to your new self. Because we can't assume how other people will react, we put in a little bit of this and a little bit of that to help out smooth the edges and round out the Sammy. Together, the 4 modules of DBT address symptom reduction, improve quality of life, and enhance the ability to live in the moment. Plus, they make a hell of a Sammy.
So for those of you who are like, what? They keep using the word skill and skillful. Let's talk just about what that is.
Well, so we teach 4 things. Mindfulness, a bunch of mindfulness skills, like how to access your wisdom, how to identify if you're an emotion or a logical place. Interpersonal effectiveness is number 2. So like communication skills, emotion regulation. So regulating what's already going on and what's started. How do you bring down the intensity? And then distress tolerance. So distress tolerance is a set of skills to cope specifically with crisis. Like once it's concocted, what are you gonna do?
Which television character do you think needs DBT the most?
Remember the scene in Bridesmaids where she like stabs the cookie at the bridal shower and she's like pushing over the chocolate fountain? I'm like, oh, she needs DBT.
Okay, yeah. What was something that was notable in me that you saw during my development in DBT?
Actually, the thing I think you did an amazing job with is your non-judgmental stance. You're like, this is what's going on. What do I do? Like, this is what I've tried. And you weren't super like judgmental. Like you really took seriously the non-judgmental stance, which is one of our skills. And I think that allowed you to really process what was happening.
I remember you told me at one point, 1.5 years is kind of like a perfect spot to like take group therapy, learn it all. So like, why would you say that there's like a set time that for some folks they can leave?
You think of it like learning a language. I think it just solidifies the skills in your brain. Makes you learn it like a language.
Before I bounce, I wanted to give you all a real life example of how and when DBT kind of stepped in and helped me make a better choice. Let's just say that. It was 2020. The US had just entered lockdown, to give you a picture of where we're at in our lives. I had left BuzzFeed in November, and right around that time, I got a DM from a fan asking what had happened to the Ladylike channel. If you don't know, last year, randomly, BuzzFeed decided to take all of the content that we had made and put on our Ladylike channel and disperse it across all of their different channels. Like confetti in the wind. It effectively annihilated the hub of all of our content and took away the meeting place for all of our 3.6 million subscribers at that point. So obviously I was a little upset. They basically bombed a huge part of my resume without giving us any heads up. I was completely devastated, and it kind of pushed me into having a mentee bee. That night, I tweeted out a couple what the fuck tweets, and I was about to take my unhinged self and go on live, on Instagram Live. With time and space, looking back, that was a dumb idea, but I didn't feel like I had anything else I could do. I felt trapped and backed into a corner. BuzzFeed had made yet another business move that I didn't know about, nor did I agree with, and I felt helpless. In that moment, I remembered everything that I had been learning in DBT, and I stopped myself. You see, going on live at that particular moment when I was all discombobulated and not making any intelligible sense, that had the potential to make the situation much worse. And in that moment, I was able to circumvent that action and replace it with a better option. And now I'm able to talk to you about that situation from a clear-headed state, and I don't feel like I have made any huge mistakes online. Thank you, DBT. You saved me from making an ass of myself. I'm gonna put a bunch of links about DBT in the description box below in case any of y'all are curious. Also, please feel free to ask me your questions in the comments below about DBT. I'm gonna try to remain active on this video in the comment section just so y'all feel supported. If you're gonna go the full DBT route, which includes having a DBT therapist and going to group sessions, etc., etc. DBT is an investment of time and money, so if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below, and I'll do my best to answer you. I believe in every single one of y'all because I know what I've been through, and I know how much of a hot mess I am at times. Right, Derek? I feel like if DBT can help me, it can definitely help you. And I hope that this video letter helps you too, because I adore y'all. Thank you so much for being on this ride with me, you beautiful nerds. And as always, I will see you next week. Sincerely, comma, no, back. Love.